So I will be talking about CLI for Microsoft 365, and this is our last out of 5 demos series, where we presented everything and just a glance about CLI. So if you are interested in something particular, which one we will be presenting today, or we presented previously, you can check the recordings from the previous Viva calls. Please do reach me out directly, and we will do a deep dive demo only about that. And today we will be presenting you some advanced usage of CLI. So basically some unique features that prove that CLI can be used anywhere and boost a lot of your features. So let's start. And before we start, hi everybody, my name is Adam. I'm a standard dev, I'm MVP and so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm a maintainer of a couple of PMP products maybe you use and love, and please do reach me out directly, don't hesitate, don't be shy. And today with me, I have an awesome co-presenter, Arjun. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone. I'm Arjun Menon. I am a Microsoft MVP in M365 development. I'm also a co-maintainer for CLI for Microsoft 365 and also a member of PNP. Back to you, Adam.
Okay, let's start. So CLI can be used in GitHub Workflows almost natively. That's at least how we say it. Why? Because it can be not only used in like a custom script, like a step, but we expose GitHub actions that make this actually super simple. So as you can see on the slide, I'm presenting you the YAML GitHub workflow, and it has our CLI custom-made GitHub actions that we currently expose, login, running any kind of script, and deploying it up. So it's really standard scenarios one may have for a CI/CD pipeline, right? And as you can see, it makes it super easy to just use them without actually knowing how CLI works underneath. So you type the name of the GitHub action and pass the parameters that are required to run this action, and off you go. And we have, of course, the docs that will guide you through this process, but basically this is not the only support and not the only DevOps environment we support, give any kind of support in CLI for Microsoft 365. So we also have a command that will allow you to generate a scaffold, a basic CI/CD pipeline or workflow, if you want to say in GitHub reality, that will deploy your app. And this is the SPFX project GitHub workflow add command. The project indicates that this command needs to be run in the context of your SPFX solution. So in the same catalog where your SPFX web part extension, whatever, basically your solution is stored. And it will generate this kind of YAM file directly in your project. So you don't even understand what YAM is and how it works, but let's go over it. It's quite a simple language. So you put the name, there's like a prep step that will check out your project from the repo. It has like all the npm install and the bundle of your project to have a package, and then it uses those CLI for Microsoft 365 GitHub actions to deploy, to log in first, because the pipeline is outside of your Microsoft 365 tenant, so it needs to first to log into your tenant and then deploy your app. And as you can see, it scaffolds you with secret placeholders. I will show them in a bit in further demos, but it's like a best approach not to have those values directly in your YAM because it's part of your Git, and everyone, if it's an open source, could see your secret or whatever because it's part of your code. It's better to have them aside as a secret in your repo and then use a placeholder for it. And there's then the deploy action that will deploy your package to your specified app catalog. And this command has a couple of options, like the manually trigger option that will modify the YAM that will allow you to then in GitHub UI manually trigger the flow whenever you want. Yeah? So basically, it's really awesome because you don't need even like some knowledge about how YAM works and how is this language written, because CLI can generate simple scenarios, how to have a CI/CD deploy workflow for you. Yeah, so really awesome. Another option we have is a login that you can log in also as a user, not only as an app. This is a simpler approach, but please be aware that has some restrictions. For example, it will not work with an account that has MFA turned on. So basically, it's a kind of login method you can use for your dev and testing kind of things, but not for production for sure, okay? And then we have additional options that will allow you to specify a site collection or site level app catalog, and then you need to scope it to the site collection level and pass the URL of the app catalog you want to deploy your app to. Okay, really awesome. And here I am in my VS Code. I already scaffold my, using the CLI command, I already scaffold my YAM flow. And we only generated the YAML file. We don't integrate with GitHub. So then you need to commit it and push it to your repo. And after you will push it to GitHub, GitHub will automatically find it in the actions and will pick it up and start running. The first run usually will fail, yes, because usually we won't have those secrets ready up front. So you need to add the app ID, the certificate, and so on and so forth, so the YAML workflow will know how to log into your tenant. And okay, you might want to ask, okay, but if I'm using the app application authentication, yeah, then I need to go to Entra, create my app, and so on. Yeah, with CLI, we have a command for it, an Entra app add, and you only need to specify the name, the permission you need, the certificate you will be using for logging, and grant admin consent, and that's it. The command will return you everything you need to put those in those secrets. So really awesome. And then the flow just works, of course, and we have it in our tenant. Another the DevOps environment we support is Azure DevOps, and we have, of course, a similar command, projects Azure DevOps pipeline add, which will similarly, like the GitHub workflow add command, also generates a YAML flow, which is built in a way for Azure DevOps context. So it's really, really similar, but the YAML has some differences. And for example, we put at the very top, it's trimmed now, the variables where we specify all the possible variables you can use and fill for this flow. But of course, it's not recommended to fill those values basically here. In the guidance that comes along together with this command, we describe how, and I will show you how to move those variables to a specific Azure DevOps library. So, okay, let's speed up. This command also supports you specifying the name, the branch name that will each time you push will trigger the flow, the login method, user application, the same, the scope, skip feature deployment, so making it a tenant wide. It doesn't have the manually trigger option. Why? Because Azure DevOps natively supports running any pipeline manually. Okay, and as you can see, we don't have any like GitHub actions here. Here we use a standard Azure DevOps script step that will install CLI and that has those commands inside the script parameter. So this is really awesome for a person that is also new to CLI, and you don't need to even understand those commands because this command will scaffold the flow and the script in this flow for you. Okay, cool. So after we create and deploy, similar like for the GitHub, we'll deploy it to Azure DevOps, our pipeline. We need to set it up manually, and I will present it how it can be done really quickly. So we go to the pipeline section in our Azure DevOps repo, in the same repo where we committed our YAML flow. We pick the source. So if it's stored on Azure DevOps, then we pick the Azure repositories, the branch where we have our pipeline. Then we create to create an existing Azure pipeline based on a YAML flow file we already have, and we select the branch and the location of the YAML flow. And then it's basically there. So you have a summary view that you can summarize your flow created, and after you click save, the flow is there, and you can run it either manually or it will be triggered every time you do a push on a specific branch you specified in the command. By default, it's its main branch. Okay. So what I said before, we expose in the scaffolded YAML flow the variables section, but it's not meant to be filled directly in the flow. Why? Because then, as you can see, we have the password, the secrets, all of the GUIDs. Basically, it's not the best approach. What you should do, and we covered it in the guidance because we don't integrate, the CLI doesn't integrate with Azure DevOps, at least yet, maybe in future. You should move it to a specific component in Azure DevOps, which is libraries, and there you can create a variable group and basically move those properties there. As you can see, those are secrets now, and for example, the certificate password is not visible. It provides you with additional, you can, for example, leverage the Azure Key Vault, and it has additional securities that, for example, only a specific team in Azure DevOps is allowed to modify this variable group, and other teams may just use them as read-only properties. So really awesome. And then in your flow, you just need to switch one line. So remove all those lines and just say that, oh, okay, I will be using group, which is with this name, which has those properties. And that's all. You don't need to modify anything else in your RAM flow to make the latest and greatest move in your CI/CD pipeline. Okay, really cool. That's the way we should roll about it, and of course it deploys. Another awesome thing I would like to, an advanced feature of CLI, and a feature which is really unique, you might not expect from a CLI tool like this, is that you can use CLI for Microsoft 365 as an API or your single API in your Node.js app. Yeah, really awesome. So here I am in VS Code. This is my a really simple Node.js app. You see, it has only one file, console log, hello world, and I do this standard. Since CLI is an npm package, I can do the npm install CLI, and I will install this package as a dependency of my Node.js project. And then later on, I can just import it and use it in code, a CLI tool, which is your single API in code. So as you can see, I'm running the status command to check if I'm logged in. If I'm not logged in, so I'm logged out, I will do the login method and again query the status and query all the sites. And then after I will execute it like standard Node and your file you want to run, you see that in the output, I have the typical CLI login method, which is by default the device login. Then I need to log into my tenant once because it's then cached and you don't need to do it every time. And I see the output that it's coming from the CLI as my API in my Node.js apps. It's like, whoa, this is so cool, right? A single tool that does it all, yeah. And from my side, basically, that's all. And just wanted to add that without this feature, SPFX SharePoint Framework Toolkit would not have exist because this VS Code used this feature extensively as under the hood to give you awesome actions. Okay, and now I'll pass my voice to my co-presenter, Arjun.
Thank you, Adam. I hope my screen is visible. Can anyone acknowledge it?
Yes, yes, I can acknowledge it.
Super. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So what we saw when Adam showed is to have the CLI embedded in your API layer. Now, imagine if you want to port it to an Azure function, how much powerful it is going to be. So imagine you have a script which is you have already written in your CLI, and you want to port it to your Azure function so that any of your front-end facing applications, be it a tab, be it a bot, or any kind of applications could easily consume it. So why do you really need to port the CLI into an Azure function? Well, you can easily port your business logic to the existing scripts without reinventing the wheel. So if you have a script already written, you can easily port it as an API layer so that the front-end facing applications will be easily able to do that. Now, the second part, or one of the most important part for most of the API layer, is the authentication part. Now, imagine CLI supports almost all the authentication approaches, be it a certificate approach, be it a client secret approach, or the conventional way where device code approach. But while in the API layer, you cannot really use a device code because it will have to be a daemon application. So with a certificate approach, you can easily get the certificate from your Key Vault, Azure Key Vault, and get the authentication in place without doing much of that. So that is the advantage which it brings into the people. And needless to say, you can build in your favorite language, be it the JavaScript, TypeScript, or even in PowerShell. Because Azure Function, you can have almost all the kind of languages, and you can define your scripts over there. Then, like I mentioned, if you have a already defined backend logic, you can easily port it to your Azure Function and deploy it in the Azure Function so that any of your front-end facing application can easily consume it. All right. So what we'll do is that we will just quickly show a particular demo of that. So what we're going to show is that we have a Teams bot as a front-end facing application. And when I give a site URL to that Teams bot, what that bot will do is that it will consume the Azure function, and within the Azure function, it is using the CLI, and it will give back the name of the site. Super complicated, isn't it? The name of the site, super complicated. That's what we're going to do there. All right. Let me quickly shift the screen. And first, let me show you the demo, and then quickly I'll show you how it has been done over here. All right. So again, what you can see here is a bot which is running here. Simple bot, nothing crazy. What I'm going to do is that I'm just going to go paste the URL of my the site where I need to get the name as, and let's hope it works. Well, we get the information at least. Anyway, again, what I have built is that this is a bot which I've built using the Teams toolkit. Pretty straightforward bot. Only thing which I have done is that I'm consuming an Azure function behind the bot, within the bot, so that you'll be able to get the information. And all the meat of the sandwich is going to lie in the Azure function, all the auth part, how are you getting the information and everything. Now you got the response from the Azure function that, okay, the name of the site is SPFX Team site. Super, isn't it? Now let me quickly jump into the code part. Now, what you see here is a simple, super simple Azure function here. What we are going to do here is that we're going to define what is the key vault URL and what is the name of the certificate, what is the tenant ID, client ID, everything would be configured in your app settings. That's the only thing which you do that. Then when you come down here, what you're doing here is that you are going to authenticate against your tenant using the certificate, which is already available in the key vault. So you don't need to keep the client secret in your app settings. You don't need to keep anything else. So what we are doing is that we are using the certificate to authenticate against your tenant. Again, what you're seeing in this particular code, there is a great blog which is written by Elio Strife. He has written this step-by-step process, and you can just literally follow that, and we'll be able to make this up and running. So Adam will be pasting the URL of that particular blog. You'll be able to follow that. So what I've done is that all I did is a minor tweaking in that code so that we'll be able to get the site URL as a parameter and get the details. Now, what you're doing here is that here is what we are executing the command for the CLI. So what we are doing is the moment we execute this command and we pass the parameter in this one. So what we are doing is that we are passing the parameter as the site URL, and how much ever parameter you have for any of this command, all these could be passed as a body, and you'll be able to get the response here. So all we did is that we included something. Oh, sorry. We included this execute command as a package on top, so that the moment you have this one and you invoke any command which is there in the CLI, be it in the login, be it in the status, or be it to do any kind of complicated operations. So this is the code, super simple code. I wish to go through the code in details, but I do not have much time of that. You can go through this code. You can refer to the repository which is already available. I have the code already available here. You can go through that, and if you have any kind of doubt, just do let me know. Now that concludes our 5-week series, or rather 5 series CLI introduction, which was there. If you guys have not attended any of these previous sessions, please do go to the recordings where we'll cover most of the amazing features around, which includes right from the introduction up until the advanced usage. So please do watch out if you have not seen that. Again, we are available in the Discord. Please do join us the Discord server if you have got some kind of doubts or questions or anything under the sun. We'll be more than happy to answer that. Along with that, we also meet every last Monday on a Discord as a casual meet, which is a totally unrecorded one. If you have some kind of questions, feel free to ask. All right, that concludes, and these are the links which you can refer to, and you'll be able to do that. Over to you, Hugo.